Hi everyone, Amadeus here. I'm a game composer and today we're going to be creating a Doom-inspired and dynamic video game music track. Now, if you ever played Doom, you know the soundtrack isn't just music, it's a weapon. Mick Gordon's iconic blend of bone-crushing metal, industrial synths, and primal rhythms doesn't just follow the action, it literally drives it. To forge this demonic soundscape, we're arming ourselves with 4 weapons of mass distortion. Number 1, the Invasion drum kit. Number 2, Eurobass 2. My beloved Black Mamba, which is an LTD EX307 guitar, and Synth GPT2 because even hell needs a bit of AI-generated chaos. Strap in because this is going to get loud. The idea is that we're going to make one 8-bar loop, and from that we're going to get 3 different intensity levels. This is to save resources in-game. Now, my approach to writing is different every time. Sometimes I come up with a melody first, sometimes I already have a main theme and then I extrapolate from that. Sometimes it's the chord progression. But in this case, I feel that we should start with the... For this, I think we can go mid-tempo like 2, pa, 2, pa. You know, so we're going to have it a bit more groovy. So we're going to accentuate beat 3. First, we're going to start with a kick, beat 1, and then the snare on beat 3, this one here. In this case, we need them all the way up to 127, so we can get the punch. We're going to have some cymbals at the beginning, same, all the way up. Close hats. Okay, let's fill it. There you go. We're going to duplicate this. We're going to fill this space. And we're going to add another kick here. And this would be my A part. Okay, we're going to duplicate this once more for the B part. Think of drums as anything else in music. You have your call and your response. So the first measure is the call of the first phrase, and the second measure is the response, and similar, the first 2 measures are a call, and the second 2 measures are the response. So what we want to do here is to end in a high note. So we're going to add some more flavor here, and then a bit of a roll at the end. Okay, let's get a feel for it. There you go, nice and slow. And we're going to do this twice. There, we have our basic 8-bar loop. On top of this, I'm thinking, for this one, I think a riff like this will go well. Let's put it first in the bass before we track the guitars. So we started it in an A, and then another A. Okay, let's listen to this. There you go. So as our A phrase, we switch it up. And in this one, we're going to let it loose a bit more. So we're going to have this longer. Let's get a feel for it. By the way, don't forget to like and subscribe and turn the notifications on. We can duplicate that. And we have our loop. Okay, now let's track the guitars. We're going to have 4 takes. So we can pan them and have this huge Doom sound. Okay, now we have them here. We're going to go to the mix window and we're going to pan them hard left, hard right, and this one in the center, so about 50 left and 50 right. Now let's listen to the whole thing. There you go, now it sounds huge. But we're still missing something. Doom isn't Doom without these dirty, gritty synthesizers. So let's do that with Synth GPT2. We're going to type exactly that. We're going to type gritty, dirty synth lead. So we have these new controls. The duration, this is the duration of the sound that is generated. So this is about 6 seconds. That means that if you keep pressing the key, it's going to play for 6 full seconds. In this case, we need about 8 seconds of sound. But let's get a bit further. Let's double that to 16 and we'll move it with the envelope from there. Now the quality is how rough the sound is. 200%, that's a very pristine sound. We need something gritty, something dirty. So we're going to go around 50%. And the strictness, this is very important because this is how close the Synth GPT generates the sound based on your prompt. If you go to 0, it has more creative freedom and you can come up with more wacky sounds, but in this case, we need a very specific sound. So we're going to go all the way up on the strictness. We're going to keep melodic on because this is a melodic instrument we want to create. If you turn it off, this is more for like kick drums or snare, something more percussive. So let's do this and let's generate it. Here it is. Now let's listen to it. Probably not what we need for this one. If you keep pressing this arrow to the right, you can generate infinite amount of sounds from the same prompt. So let's go to the next one. Let's listen. A lot closer to what we need. One more. Not really, so we're going to keep number 2. Let's go to the envelope. We probably need a bit more sustain, maybe something more like this. There you go, so it stays there a bit longer. And a filter, let's turn it on. I like to having a high pass at around 200, just to get rid of all the rumble. So I think we're good to go. If you go back to home, if you are happy with this sound, you can just put it in favorites with that heart, and you can access whenever from your library. There you have all of your sounds. Look, here I have 6 pages. We're going to add some more distortion to it. I like using trash too. We're going to go with something drivey. Let's see, a cactus. There you go. Look at that. You know what? Let's go back to Synth GPT, to that envelope, and let's ease in. So it's not that percussive. Okay, let's go back to trash 2. We can add some dynamics. Let's do 4-1. I think that's it, to be honest. Can we push it a bit harder? I like it. So I think that's enough. Okay, so we're going to use this very acid lead as a path. We want some dissonance, so we are in the key of A minor. We're going to select the 5th, so in this case is an E, and we're going to have it played twice in the whole phrase. So it can restart every time the phrase starts, the synth punches again. There you go, you got this very acid thing in the background that is clashing with the rest of the notes. That's what we want. In this case, we're not adding a melody because the melody is in the riff, so the guitars and the bass are taking the melody. We want this synth just to make constant dissonance and fill in the gaps. Now, I told you we're making a dynamic video game music track, so we need to get 3 different intensity levels from this. And this is my favorite part because we're just going to mess with the drums and it's going to make all the difference in the world. You'll see. We started with this very sluggish halftime riff, which is really good. It put us in the mood. It's kind of a bit more exploration if you're in game, but it helps us come up with a riff. To ramp up the intensity, we're going to come up with a more traditional drum beat. In this case, we have the kicks in 1 and 3, and we have the snares in 2 and 4. That's a lot more normal. We have the hi-hats open. So we started here, very close sound. Hi-hats more open, add a lot more intensity. You see now, the urgency sits there. And let's add another one. Now for the third one, what we're going to do is to have the hi-hats play faster. This also adds intensity, but we're going to have them a bit closer. We started here, fairly close. Then we move all the way here, which is very open sound. Listen to that. This is going to be a bit more aggressive. We're going to close them a bit to balance the intensity. We're also going to add some double kick there and here. So let's listen to this. Intensity 3. And just like that, from a single groove and one riff, we have 3 different levels of intensity. This can be a good resource, having a short loop with different variations to add intensity to your game without necessarily adding the lot of sound extra. If you're limited in space or this is a small scope. Another thing we could do is to add a B section and a C section, but we're going to keep it simple for this video, okay? Now we're going to export each instrument individually and we're going to head over to FMOD. For this, we're going to commit each one of these. We're going to export them, label them, drums 1, drums 2, drums 3, then we're going to have the bass, the guitars together, and the synth. We're now in FMOD. Let's create a new 2D timeline. We're going to call this music. And here in assets, we're going to drag and drop our music stems. There you go, all of them. So let's open this here on the right. We need an audio track per instrument. Drums, bass, guitars, and synth. Synth GPT2. Okay, right click here, tempo marker. I-160 was the original one. Now let's add this. Now for the guitars, we're going to add a multi-instrument. Here we're going to add the guitars, and we're going to also add a silence instrument. We're going to have that around 80% of the time. We can hear the guitars. The other 20% of the time is going to be silent. There you go. That's just the bass and the drums. And we're going to do something similar for the synth. Okay, we bring the synth here. No, we don't need this. Events. We're going to add a silence instrument and we're going to set the play percentage, this one, 90. We want this to be playing most of the time. So let's try it. There you go. Now you get the synth, but not the guitars. And so on, this by itself creates a lot of variety in this first loop. We're going to copy this here and here. And now we have our 3 levels of intensity. Okay, and don't forget to like and subscribe. There you go. Okay, now we need to transition between them. So let's add some loop regions. So let's add this one here. I'm going to call this intensity 1. This is 8 measures long, like it says here. This one here is just for a transition. So let's make sure to have the appropriate size. Same for all of them. It's only 8 measures. This one is intensity 2. And the last one, intensity 3. Okay, now we need a parameter sheet, new parameter. It's going to be discrete. It's going to be 1, 2, and 3, right? 1, 2, and 3. Initial value is 1. There you go. Now we have the parameter here, and we can increase it 2 and 3. All right. Okay, so we're going to add a transition to region intensity 2. Same here, transition to region intensity 2. And here one that says transition to region intensity 3. Let's put them on top of each other. This one we copy it. We paste it here. And we need one that is transition to region intensity 1. That way, we copy and paste it. And now we want to make sure that it's just before the loop. This is something not really cool about FMOD, but that's how it works. Okay, to intensity 2, we need to set the condition. So add condition with the parameter browse set is the first parameter always. If this parameter is 2, then it goes to transition 2. First parameter, but now only if this is 3. Same here, but now only if this is 1. This one only if this is 3. And you catch my drift. We're going to do this for all of them. Okay, let's test it. We start with the parameter 1. It should loop back to the beginning. There you go. Let's move it to. Now it should loop to the next region. There you go. And now let's try to get it back to 1. There you go. Now let's go all the way to 3. Let's see. Now let's go to 2, just for fun. There you go. All the way to 1. And just like that. Now the good thing is that you can get this parameter and link it to any in-game variable that you want. It can be like 0 enemies on site, and then you play the first loop, and then if you have like 5 enemies at the same time, you ramp up to intensity 2. If you get 10 enemies, you can go all the way to intensity 3. You kill 5, then you go to intensity 2, or you run from the enemies and you go all the way back to intensity 1. And this is only 22 megabytes of data because these instruments are essentially 3 drum loops, 1 bass, 1 guitar, and 1 synth. So it's just 6 audio files. We exported them at 48K, which is a really high resolution, but when you put this in game, it's going to be compressed even further. So it's not going to be even the 22 megabytes. This is one example of how you can use Synth GPT2 to create a Doom-like dynamic game track. Don't forget to subscribe and like this video for more, and I'll see you in the next one.